Well, I was asked to go live. I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to be live for a little bit. Study break. Gotta get back to it. Plus some music. How about I make a song? How about that? Hey, Nicole. What's going on with your friend? I hear you decided if I move to Atlanta, okay, for one, if I move to Atlanta, it would be a lot easier for me to do it now because of my education. So, but it would still be hard because there's a lot of people who are highly educated in Atlanta who don't have jobs. But it would be easier. But if I was going to go back to Atlanta, I would move to Kennesaw. I've said this before. I've been to Kennesaw before. I kind of liked it, even though they're a little racist down there. I like Kennesaw. What up, man? So Kennesaw seems to be, the reason why I picked Kennesaw is because they have a nice little university down there. It's a nice little suburb. I was thinking of buying a little flat and just, it's warmer than it is here, or get a condo, probably go to condo direction. And just, live in a little pocket. Kennesaw, mind my business. Keep it pushing. Take care of my little plants and stuff like that. Because it's AIDS infested. Downtown Atlanta is like a third world country. It's bad down there. It's infested with AIDS. And other things. Not something that I would be willing to do. However, I would move in and out of Atlanta as far as downtown. If I had business down there, I would rock in and out of there. But I wouldn't move down there to live. I would go down there and chill at 5 Points every now and then. Because I like 5 Points. You ain't never been to 5 Points, go. It's interesting because you'll see a plethora of personalities down there. And it's interesting just to stand there and look at the people while they're looking at you. All just looking around, waiting for something to happen. It's an instant audience. I'm sure there's people who dance down there. There's people who entertain. And you have thousands of people just there looking to be entertained. And they have money because it's a working class. They might be poor. They might be middle class. But it's a place where you can go and entertain, you might make a couple dollars. You're good. I saw an entertainer down there. I was impressed. He didn't even want any money. Just started singing. I saw Keith Sweat in the Underground. That's another cool place, the Underground. I just don't want to live in Atlanta. I lived on Ponce de Leon. I just don't want to live in the inner city. I would like to live on the outer belt. You know, where I can, where I like quiet. I'm one of those people. You know, I like to sip my soda and not have to worry about too much of anything. You know, go somewhere I can sip a soda and just chill. But I don't want to be too far away from the people because I don't like people, but I like looking at them. Why would I ever consider it? I got family that lives in Texas. Got a brother that lives down there. My father lives in Tennessee. Got a sister who lives in Texas. Got I think some nieces and nephews that live down there too. And in Atlanta. You know, so I got some family that live down there, down those ways. I'm not too communicable. I don't really rock with them too much. But every now and then I tolerate them. I'm not really the black sheep. We're just not really that type of family where we're always around each other. We don't like each other that much, but we love each other. I love my sister, but I don't want to be around her. It's too crazy. You know? Same with my brother. I don't mind being around him though. But he's really out there. If you think I'm out there, he's really out there. But he's so smart. He's brilliant. That's why he's so far out there. He's hard to understand. But that dude is brilliant. That dude is smart as a whip. Always has been. He dropped out of school was just because it was boring. He's like, this is boring to me. I'm done. Just walked away. My mom was pissed. He's like, I'm done. I quit. Just walked away from it all. I'm not coming back here. And he didn't. Went and got a GED and kept it moving. Joined the military. We were in the military at the same time. Yeah, caught up with each other over there in Darmstadt, Germany. Hung out for a little bit. Then we didn't see each other for years. Then caught up with each other again about a year or so ago. You know, probably won't see each other for another, 5-6 years. You know, that's just the way it is. But I got a sister that lives in Atlanta. You know, I had another sister on my dad's side. She lived in Savannah, but she don't live there now. I don't know where she lives. Houston, yeah, so they've migrated in and out of Texas and Atlanta is where the majority of them are. So, I got family, in those areas. Have you decided where you're going to go? Moving to Houston, okay. When are you leaving? That's why you're asking me about Houston? You want me to come down there and hang out with you? You want me to come to Houston? You want me to come to Houston and visit you? How was the housing in Atlanta when you lived there? Was it new apartments? It was kind of old. It was okay. Oh, okay. It was okay. The ones I lived, the first one I lived in with my sister was new. The other one was a little older, but it wasn't like beat down old. The one on Ponce de Leon, but the one near, I think, the Cab Mall, our whole development was new. It was nice. You know, the mall was nice. I didn't have any problems there. But as soon as you keep going down that hill, when you where the mall is and you just keep going straight, that story that I told about Atlanta, that's where it all happened. Went down kind of bad. Those 3 teenagers. Kind of real bad. Need to keep looking at this stuff because I don't want to do it because I'm burned out, but I need to look at it. Random size of N. 2-year-old is selected. What does the approximate shape mean and standard deviation of the sample distribution mean? I have no idea. The random size of N equals 40. 2-year-olds are selected. Equals 40. 2 are selected. What is the approximate shape? And the standard, talking about the approximate shape of a bell curve. Yeah, but I'll probably go to Houston again. Music down there in Houston. That doggone Drake, man, he's killing the game. What is the sample distribution? What theorem informs us about the shape of the sample distribution? Suppose the height of a 2-year-old are normal. Okay, normal distribution. Would it mean the 30 inches and the standard deviation of 35? Then you would use a normal CDF. So you would say, suppose the height of a 2-year-old are normal, which means it's a normal curve, a normal bell curve. Distributed mean of 30. And the standard deviation of 3.5. Well, it would be your lums, so your lower, upper mean your standard deviation. So you're missing your lower and upper, and probably be E99. So you're missing a number. The height of 2-year-olds are normal. So it would be 2, E99. So it'd be 2, comma, E99, comma, 30, comma, 3.5, comma. And that would give you your answer if you're using normal distribution. I'd love to meet you in person in Houston. Houston's a little trip. That's a ways. I have to catch a plane to get down there. We were supposed to Skype. How come we never Skype? I wouldn't mind meeting you in person too. You sound bubbly. A lot of fun. Where's the problem? Once you get down to Houston, you're going to be busy. Have you found a job down there yet? There's a probability that 1 2-year-old will be shorter than 28 inches. You take the probability of. I don't know why we never Skype. I got to get Skype. Or any of those, because we were supposed to do that. You wanted to do a joint thing on here. You wanted to talk about something, but I was like, fine. You know? My dude is paying for everything until I'm comfortable enough. Well, okay. So you guys are doing the whole living thing, huh? What is the probability that a mean of 40 2-year-olds will be shorter than 28. Where's the probability apart? So much smaller. Ah, the answer key. I gotta get the answer key. Then we won't live with me. You got a heck of a dude. That's what friends are for good times and bad times. I'll be on your. Did you know Dionne Warwick? You know why she stopped singing? Is because black people started ousting her. Dionne Warwick doesn't write songs. She doesn't. Her songs were written by white people. So they were writing her songs like, do you know the way to San Jose? I'm ba 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 dun dun da da ba da da ba da ba da da ba da ba 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 da do know the San Jose. Black people were like, what are you singing about? That's what happened to her. Black people were going, do you know the way to San Jose? You mean to New York or to Chicago or to Detroit? Like, I know the way to Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? I don't live in San Jose. Get out of here. That's what happened. They were like, you sound too white. You're singing white music. They stopped identifying with her. To tell you something, how is it that radio DJs want you to play them, pay them so much to play? What do you mean, how is it? You mean, why is it? What do you mean? I don't understand the question. How is it, meaning how the system is set up? Why is it, meaning why the system is set up? So if you're asking me how the system is set up to where DJs are asking you for so much money, that's one question. Why it's that way is another question. You see what I mean? It's the inference in the beginning of the question. But how is it? The reason how it is, the way it's set up is because, yes, why is that? Well, the reason why it is so DJs can benefit off of their craft, but there's a lot of legalities to what they're doing. It's illegal. Payola is illegal. It's illegal because it's not fair to the people who don't have the money to pay these DJs. But when it comes to money, nothing is really fair. You know, it's either you have it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? That's that. So, okay, well, let's go back to old music and then I'll bring it up to newer music. Let's take one of the hottest songs ever. I think the song that was most ever played at one time was I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. That song was first sang by Dolly Parton. White woman. That song had more spins than any other song all the way up until Alicia Keys came along with I Keep On Falling in Love with You. But it wasn't Alicia Keys who paid the radio people to keep playing that song and to put it in heavy rotation. It wasn't Alicia Keys who did that. It was whoever her A&R people are. Probably not her distribution. Well, it could be her distribution. Okay, 70% of, okay, you have $1. The way things are set up is that dollar is split into what they call points. When Little Kim said, I'll take your royalty and your points, that's what she's talking about. That's what everybody's after. When Jay-Z told when he told doggone, who was a comedian. He was on one of it, the night show. And he told David Letterman, he said, "That's pretty cool. I should give you publishing for that." And David Letterman said, "What will I get for that?" And Jay-Z looked at him and said, "Publishing." See, it went over his head because Letterman isn't in the game of publishing. You know what I mean? See, when you have that dollar is split up for one, your taxes. First place it goes to. Two, your distribution, meaning whoever is putting it out. So if you're going through a distributor, like Sony is a distributor, okay? They press the music, they put it on CDs, or they get it out however they were doing it back then. They press the records, they get, they pay all these people just to get your stuff out to the people and on the airwaves. 70% of your money goes to that. That's 70 cents on that dollar goes to that. Then you have your taxes, which is, up to 40%. I mean, it could be, but in this case, it wouldn't be 40% because you'd be over $1. But 70% of your money goes to that. So then you take another 20, 25%. I mean, you just don't have much to deal with, you know what I'm saying? So this is why you hear Mos Def saying he was getting 6 points on his album. And that was good. He was getting 6 cents to every radio spin. So that's how it's broken down. And then you hear people talking about Young Jock, and how Young Jock fell off. Then he went through all these things, and then they're saying, but Young Jock still got money, even though his album sales aren't doing good because, somebody, for one, he got robbed, and then he had to go through some legalities, but he was still making money because I Know You See It. Young Jock owned 25% of the publishing on I Know You See It. And every time it's played, he gets 25% of the spins. That's huge. It just doesn't happen like that. Michael Jackson was talking about how Sony was upset at him because when Michael Jackson walked away, he walked away this publishing. Okay, Michael Jackson had a big target on his head whenever he did that. Whenever he called Tommy Mottola the devil. Tommy Mottola is a Jew. Okay, excuse me, he's Jewish. You don't mess with those people. You're going to lose your life. That's what happened to him. I ain't saying Tommy did it. I'm saying you just don't mess with those people. He walked away with millions and millions and millions of dollars because of the rights that he had. So whenever those albums and records are played or heard on the airwaves and on the internet, Michael was collecting the majority of the proceeds. That's not how they want to do business. They want to collect 70% while you collect 2-3%. That's what they want. Michael was like, no, I own this. Michael Jackson bought the Beatles archive records. He bought everything the Beatles had. Paul McCartney tried to raise up and buy it, but Michael came with more money and straight up bought the Beatles. He owned all of the Beatles stuff. Oh yeah, you got a target on your head. All the stuff the Beatles did, yeah. Tommy is a Jew. Most folks who claim to be Christian and Hebrew Israelites, they are Jewish. No. Tommy is Jewish. Most people who claim to be Christian and Hebrew Israelites are Jews. Read the Bible. Tommy is Jewish, meaning a form of. Ish. Black-ish. Pretty-ish. Yeah, he's Jewish. The Jews, the Jewish people actually can't BS. Jew is not a race of people. Jew is a religion of people. The race actually were Russians. The Jewish people were Russian Abkhazians. Jew is a culture. The Jews of the Bible came out of Mesopotamia, came out of, they came out of Asia before they crossed the Red Sea, and they were captured by the Africans and then they were sold. But they were living in Jerusalem when Jerusalem was taken over by, I think, Scipio from the Romans. He pretty much, they took down the Jews' empire, not the Jewish, the Jews' empire. And when they took down the empire, what they did was they were committing all kind of atrocities to where the Black Jews who lived in Jerusalem. The reason why Jerusalem fell is because it was divided. They started fighting amongst each other. And I think there were northern Jews, and then there were southern Jews, and it was divided into two kingdoms, and they were fighting amongst each other. Then the Romans just came and obliterated them. So they had about 1.5 of them flee. And once they fled pretty much into Africa. And when the Africans saw how they were multiplying because of the promise that was, made by God to Abraham's seed, they said, you're going to be like the numbers, you're going to be like the numbers of stars in the skies. And so this is why we populate so quick. And there's so many of us. So that was only one part of the 12 tribes. I mean, there were tribes of Jews all over the place because the planet at one time was a Pangea. And once the planet started breaking up in the different continents, there were people already living on those different continents. Bros, stop the nonsense. Okay. Hannibal, Joy and Baal weighs a Canaanite, the original. Okay, what color was the Canaanites? In the land of Canaan, what color were they? What color was Hannibal? Have you ever read the Talmud? Do you know what the Talmud is? Right. They're Africans. Right. They're Black people. Right. Okay. So have you ever read the Talmud? Or do you know what the Talmud is? Do you know who wrote the Talmud? Or why they wrote the Talmud? And I agree with Canaanites and the people out of Morocco were Africans. And so I agree with some of what you're saying, or so-called Jews. But there were 12 tribes of Jews. So you're focusing on one tribe. And some of the Africans, like the Egyptians, they were not the same as the people who they captured, which were the Jews. The Africans and the Jews, this is why we don't assimilate with them too well. We don't know their culture. They're foreign to us because they're the ones who sold us into slavery. So the Africans and us, we're not the same tribe. We're not the same people. So I don't know what BS that you think I'm spitting, but, whatever. Tells a story about how the Hebrews came in the land of Canaan, right? See the land of Canaan, and got their culture. Okay, I understand what you're talking about. When they said that there are giants in the land, and they sent out scouts, and they found out that there was giants in the land. Are we going to go all the way back to Gog and Magog? I mean, are we just going to just stop at the land of Canaan? Because there's a lot that happened during that time and why God sent them there. I mean, do we need to go all the way to Deuteronomy and talk about, Mount Seir and, the giants that lived in Mount Seir and why God had them walk around Mount Seir for 40 days and 40. There's a lot that happened before that. Why God had them walk around the mountain for 40 years. Magog, talking about the Russians, aka Jessup. Okay. the giant Magog, for one, Gog and Magog, there's two different people. And God had to get rid, he had to get rid of some of those people before the Jews were able to actually live in those lands. This is when you're talking about when they went to Canaan, they sent spies out and they said, there are giants in the land. God had to get rid of those giants. That's when you talk about when God started to prophesy and say to Gog and say to Magog, they were kings, and he was talking about getting rid of them in order for those people to move into them. Now, as far as the Russian Caucasians is concerned, the Russian Caucasians, the Jewish, like I'm saying, Tommy Mottola and his crew, the people who designed this terrible music that we're listening to. Old Testament is allegory. Stop speaking as if it's literal. The Old Testament wasn't literal. Mount Seir doesn't exist. The Caucasus Mountains aren't really there. The Red Sea the Red Sea's not there. Because if you look at the Old Testament and you look at the map and what they're talking about, all of those places are there. Only thing that's different is the Red Sea is wider because of time. What are you talking about? The Red Sea is not there. Red Sea is there. Asia, Africa. What? I'm confused. I'm confused on, for one, I'm confused on where you're trying to go. You telling me that the white Russian Caucasians are not Jewish, they're the real Jews. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. So, you know, they're a warlike race. They're Russian Caucasians. Or they even had another name, because they were blood brothers, means they like to eat food that had blood in it, like borscht. They still do that. What is the other? Off the top of my head, Scythians. I mean, read about the Scythians and like, dude, you're not gonna like stomp me, and you telling me to stop is ridiculous to get on somebody's site and say, stop this and that, as if you have so much more knowledge than somebody else, because they're just going to keep talking on what they believe. Now, if you want to whip out some scripture one of these days, won't be today. I'm too tired. But whip out some scriptures one of these days, we can do that. I mean, you said it. I've done this before with people. You know, I don't have a problem with that, but you coming at me way wrong, bro. Way wrong. You know, you want to prove your point, we can whip out the scriptures and get to it. You want to set up a date, I'm more than happy to do that. We can get to the scriptures. That's not a problem. You know, spend a couple hours on it. It won't be today because I have a test tomorrow. My last test, actually, before I graduate. So I can't spend that kind of time. But I've done this before. So, you know, you come with a better attitude, I'll be more than happy to talk about those things, and we can go over history and, you know, all those things. Now, at the beginning, you tried to say that Tommy Mottola is a Jew. Tommy Mottola is not a Jew. I mean, it's written, you can read it. Tommy Mottola is not a Jew. Tommy Mottola is Jewish. He's a Russian Caucasian. That's where they came from. They were a warlike race. I mean, you wrote what you said, bro. So, you know. Anyways, you know, whenever you want to do that, bro, we can whip out some scriptures and make it happen. Okay, bro. Like I said, whenever you want to get to the scriptures, we can get to the scriptures and find out, you know. But if you don't believe in the Old Testament, you think it's just all allegory, it's kind of a moot point. It's a waste of time, because all of those places that God talks about, they're all still there. So I don't know how much allegory that you're talking about as far as Old Testament, Baal, and, you know, all the events that happen, and, you know, the parting of the Red Sea and all this, you know, the flood and all those things. If you don't believe all those things happened, then it's kind of hard to talk to you about it, you know, not unless you're just going by bloodline and lineage. So, you know, if you're starting from the New Testament and then trying to find out 3,000 years ago, or actually past that. Look, the story of Adam is only 7,000 years old. Like, Adam wasn't even the first man on earth. He wasn't even close to it. They found bones of people who've been here for millions of years. Noah's recreation and not an actual person. Shem represents Asia. Japhet represents Caucasia. And Ham represents, look, Ham representing Africa. I've heard that before, black people, because they were called Hamites. Understood. That is an allegory. I'm going to say this one more time before I move on and talk about what Ms. Nicole was talking about. You have to, whenever you're having a conversation like this, for one, we would have to whip out the Bible. We would. Proves my point. You didn't prove your point. Like I said, we would have to get the Bible. But everything that you're talking about is in the Old Testament. And you're saying that they're just allegories. When you're saying something is an allegory, you're not saying what is written is a literal truth. So, and you're doing that, you're taking out everything all the way up until Christ is not literally the truth. These events did not happen. So when you have that much skewed information, it's hard to find out what is and what isn't the truth. You see what I mean? So I would have to get the Bible with you and say, and read through some of the stuff that you're talking about, because I'm familiar with it, and then say, did this literally happen, or is this allegory? Does this plot of land exist, or is it an allegory? Did Noah, Shem, okay, fine. Did Noah really build an ark? Was an ark really there? Did the whole planet get smothered by water? Did this really happen, or was it just a, small piece of land that where a lake? Because I've heard this before, where a lake pretty much was, it kind of like, okay, basically, Noah was a person didn't settle in one place, sheep herders, and they wandered, so on and so forth. And they said that there was a large lake in an area that was almost like a mountain region, and it broke, and it came rushed downhill, and it filled the whole thing with water. And Noah said, oh, this was the whole flood. But the problem is, the story of Noah has been said by every single continent at the same time. Something happened. I have to mention they found the ark. Okay, they found Noah's ark. So, I don't know how much allegory is there. I'm just confused. Jesus is the Son of God, the light of the world. Allegory. Religion is slavery, and guess what you are. So before you go on, if you criticize me, guess what you're going to be? Just take one guess. You can't have an intelligible conversation, then you'll be talking to somebody else, and I'm okay with that. Story of Noah comes from the Epic of Gilgamesh and Enkidu, the worm coming out of his nose. I know about the, Gilgamesh and Enkidu. Once again, we will have to whip out the books in order to find out what you believe is true and what you believe is allegory. Because if you're saying that certain events did not happen, then we would have to go through history books just to see what you believe and then start there. This is an allegory, fine. Discard that. This actually happened. Start there. That's the only way you can deal with somebody who thinks like you do. Start where you believe this actually happened. In a plot of time, this event happened. Literally. Because if you just go with all allegory, then it's just kind of tossing stuff up. Okay, so you don't believe none of this stuff. The Canaanites lived in the land of Canaan. The land of Canaan is in Africa. So the story of the Canaanites are about people who lived in Africa. Is that literal? Is the land of Ham literal? Or is the land of Ham an allegory? Because we can just start right there. Are Canaanites literally a people that came out of the land of Ham, or are they an allegory? You see what I mean? You have to start right there. Were the seafaring Moors, were they literal people that came out of Morocco, or were they something else when they fought against the Christians? So what were they? Land of Canaan is now Syria, Jordan, and Syria is on what continent? You can't answer a question straight. Syria, Jordan, Palestine, Israel, territory corrupted by Kemet and Egypt. I wish you can have a conversation without trying to impress me with all of this and just answer some basic questions. Because I'm trying to find out what you know as literal and what you know as physically there or true. I'm just, no, I'm not slow. I'm trying to get you to understand if somebody has to talk to you and you think everything is an allegory, they have to find out what you find literally to be true and what you find, you can't say this is an allegory and then I can say this is a tangible, like I have tangible evidence that this is true. Then you say a calculator is just an allegory for a time machine or something like that. And I'm like, is this a calculator or is it not? You have to have something solid. You have to have a foundation. In order for two people to have a historical conversation, not an argument, you have to start at a place that you both agree. If you both disagree on what is and what isn't, then the conversation is going like this and it'll never be a meeting. That's all I'm saying. All of those places that you mentioned, I asked you what continent they came from. You gave me a bunch of countries, but you didn't give me the continent. And I know you know the difference between the two. Yes, graphing calculator is exactly what it is. I need to be using it because I got to study. But this guy, when people do this, they have all of this stuff in their head they want to spit out. They want to, I know all of this and you don't. So you're slow and I'm fast. It's just like, no, that's not the case. I'm trying to have a conversation while you're trying to have a filibuster. You want a soapbox, but I want to join in and share knowledge. It's two different things. Somebody who's having a filibuster isn't going to listen to somebody else talking to them. They're just going to keep talking. Revelation 3:14. Pretty much. It's like, dude, calm down and let's have a conversation. Let's whip out the book. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. I invited him to that. Like, I don't know how many times I said, do you want to whip out the books? The history? No. Syria. You don't want to go to the actual books. You just want to spit a bunch of Nobody cares, man. Nobody's going to spend time with you if you just want to keep doing that. So I'm done. Anyways, Nicole, what were you saying? I'm sorry. I really thought this person was trying to have an intelligible conversation. I was into it for a second because I like history and I don't mind being wrong. Please correct me. But when you just, want to be an ego tripping, person on here and act like you know something that nobody else knows. I was there 3,000 years ago. I know what happened. I don't know. You read it in a book. What's real and what is not real? Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne. What's real? How do you define real? That's where we got to go. We got to go red pill, blue pill with you. Because you can't have a literal conversation with somebody who's everything's an allegory. It's not true. The Egyptians and Jesus Christ are both the same story. Come on, man. Jesus didn't die and go to hell and then come back 3 days. That's where you're at. So your religion is what exactly? Here's to you, bud. Here's a soda to you. Oh no. I told you I can't do it today. Set up a time. You don't listen very well. You talk a lot, but you don't listen very well. When you want to set up a time other than tomorrow, because I have studies all day tomorrow, it's my last day of school. Tuesday. Tuesday, what? 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock? It's 6:06. Tuesday at 6? Is that what you want to do, buddy? I'll write it down on my, Tuesday, everybody here will, how about that? I'm not deflecting. I answered every single one of your questions. Masons wrote the Holy Bible. Masons did not write. The Bible was written by the Council of Nicaea. The Council of Nicaea was the Roman Empire that didn't fall by the Britons. 70 men wrote the Bible. Okay? Just like 70 men wrote the Talmud. And I asked you about if you knew what the Talmud was. You didn't answer that. So who's deflecting? You just rolled right past it. And I know you can hear me. My music isn't playing. I asked you like 7, 8 times. Do you know what the Talmud is? Do you know who? See, I'm not doing this with you. I'm not doing this with you. You're young and you think you know something, but you don't. People like you just want to talk and they don't want to listen. They want to throw all this knowledge at you, but they don't want to sit and try to get knowledge. They have a one, boom, I know this, let me share it. And I don't want to listen to nothing else. This is what so-and-so said, and whatever anybody else said is not true. And going around with your purple and your fringes and your afro and now you know everything. Ain't got not one bit of spirit in you. Not one. Not led by the Holy Ghost whatsoever. Oh, God. Anybody else want to talk about something? Shit. I'm done. I'm just not. I can't do that. I can't waste my time like that. It's just a waste. Anyway, so Nicole, I was trying to tell you about music. Shoot. The DJs. So I think in the 60s, where payola, it might have even been before that, where yeah, I do. I take medicine for it too. I also exercise a lot. Yeah, I know that you get high blood pressure from being born into it, Oh, bro. Oh, we don't play. We don't play, bro. We don't play that over here. Okay. I always got some water over here. Yeah, got my medicine right here too. Heck yeah, I'm doing good. But yeah, payola was something that was outlawed, supposed to be outlawed, but the DJs still do it. And that's just the way it is. What up, Happy? You all right, man? I'm gonna try to make some music here in a minute for you, Happy, because I know that's what you really like. Before I get back down into this music, try to make some more rhythms. Any advice on 30-year-old with high blood pressure? It's most likely you got high blood pressure because you were born into it. You know, like there's a lot of people who have diseases that they were just born into, alcoholism and stuff like that. You're just born into it. You know, some psychiatric stuff, they're just born into it. There's a good chance that your family has a track record of it. I exercise a lot, even though I'm a big person. No salt meat. Yeah, I don't eat a lot of meat at all. You guys know that. I eat chicken every now and then. I eat a lot of fish. I just checked my blood pressure. Well, bro, you need to, look up online and find out where exactly you should be, especially at 30 years old. Matter of fact, at 30 years old, that's when I found out that I had high blood pressure. But it was weird the way I found it out because I used to drink Mountain Dew. And that is a terrible thing to put in your body. And what happened was my heart raced, so much because I used to be a long distance runner. I could run a mile in under 5 minutes. So at 30 years old, I was still like competing in the mile, but I was running road miles. Like I got a scholarship at 26 to run track. It was because I was just out running all the time. So I ran the mile in college at 26 years old because I could run it under 5 minutes. It just was easy to me. But I had high blood pressure the whole time. I didn't even know it. I wasn't taking high blood pressure pills. I still had it, and I was running a 4:26 mile. Like, how does that happen? I was like maybe 210 pounds, which is heavy for a miler. But nonetheless, so I was doing all this exercise. I still had it. But I didn't know I had it until about 5 years later. I had drunk some Mountain Dew, and my heart started to palpitate, and it wouldn't calm down. So I checked myself in, and they were just like, you have high blood pressure. So that was it for Mountain Dew for me. I never drank it again. And you got to be careful of it. So you should have someone. You should have someone, a professional check your high blood pressure and give you some good advice because it's nothing to play with. People literally walk and then fall over dead because they had it and didn't do anything about it. And they were exercising and all that, but they didn't take their medicine. Some people skip their medicine, decide, I don't need to take it for the next 10 days. Your heart rate goes up. You know what I'm saying? Some people still eat terrible foods. Stuff that I put it to you like this. This is how sensitive I am now since I stopped eating a lot of stuff. About a month ago, like I stopped eating butter. Like I only use cooking oil, stuff like that. Trans fats will get you. Anything that turns solid when it's cool, butter, Crisco, terrible for you because that's what it does in your arteries and it clogs them up. So I decided I wanted to eat with Country Crock again, right? Country Crock, that's some good butter, man. But I eat oatmeal in the morning a lot, before I go to the gym. I eat oatmeal. So I wanted to, throw some butter in there. I was like, yeah, I could do this. I'm all right. Next thing you know, my heart started hurting. Every day, it would just get worse and worse and worse. I was just like, is this energy? Is it heartburn? Like, what's going on? And then it hit me. You can't eat that. You cannot eat Country Crock. And I was like, I've been eating this all my life. That's the problem. I can no longer eat that stuff. I threw all of it away. I just came downstairs and was like, boom, I haven't had that problem since. So yeah, bro. Yeah, like it's real. Like my heart was telling me, you keep eating this, you're going to be leaving this planet early. I threw that stuff away. So I eat a lot of fish. I eat a lot of potatoes, man. I eat vegetables all the time. Every now and then I'll have some chicken, but not that much. Not really that much. But yeah, I don't really do coffee because coffee will make your heart rate go up. Yeah. Anything that will spike your heart rate is not good to eat. You know, them 5-hour adrenaline rushes, oh God, don't do that. Don't mess with your body like that, man. Don't do that. Don't mess with your love dub like that, bro. Yeah. Figure out what you wish. Okay. That's a good thing to study. The Moroccans, you know, the seafaring Moroccans, you know, it's a good thing to study, and how they lived, because a lot of them were very healthy. As a matter of fact, the majority of them were very healthy. You know, a lot of the English people, you know, they had gout. Very unhealthy people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the stuff they ate was just, and I'm talking about during Henry VIII's time and stuff like that. They had gout. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, until it was, you know, until they were fed things that, well, the thing about that was the Africans who came over here, they were healthy people. It wasn't like there was a bunch of fat ones around because of the way the lay of the land was back then. For one, everybody was pretty much hunter-gatherers. So, you know, you got up in the morning, you pretty much was hunting for your food. You had to get out there and run for it. So, yeah, I mean, things changed over those 400 or 500 years. And eventually people started eating foods that were just bad for them. But your natural body doesn't sit 8 hours a day. Like the stuff we're doing now isn't, a lot of it is not natural to us. We're used to, you know, how do you think most of those armies that conquered all of those lands, they walked. They didn't ride horses. They walked 2,000-3,000 miles, walked, you know, with full gear. The Roman army walked. The Persians walked. The African silk trade route. They walked across the deserts, you know. So, yeah. You gotta, yeah, man, I don't drink coffee at all. I can't tell you the last cup of coffee I had, and I'm ex-military. Okay. Please don't curse on my channel, but thank you for that information. Yeah, bro, I'm ex-military. Oh, so you know about the coffee in the morning, bro. I know it. You know what? That's really something because, you know, a lot of people in the military, you're almost forced to drink coffee because when you go on a bivouac, you have 2 drinks when you're on a bit. Well, 1, 2. You have pretty much 2 drinks when you're on a bivouac, don't you? You have coffee and you have water. I don't think you had orange juice. I was a cook. I don't remember having orange juice. You know, we didn't have orange juice. You had coffee and water. Coffee is a mainstay in the military, but you know the thing about it is it can get you addicted to coffee. Coffee is addicting. Walking 5 miles a day? Yeah. I mean, yeah. Gets me going in the morning, especially it, you know what, but hot chocolate to get you going in the morning too. No tea? I drink tea. I drink tea. I sip on this every now and then. I drink tea. Tea doesn't, all tea does is make you go to the bathroom. Yeah, tea makes you go to the bathroom, flushes out a lot of stuff. So, yeah. So you drink tea, you'll be going to the bathroom a lot, which is not a bad thing because a lot of stuff in your system you just want to get rid of. But I tell you what, you start exercising and a lot of bad things in your body will just start pouring out of you. It'll come out any way it can get out because a lot of the stuff that is bad for you just can't stay in a healthy body. It's just not the way we're built. Yeah, God made us perfect. So he's just like, if you do what you're supposed to, She is great. Shy. What is for T? Yeah. If you do what you're supposed to, if you're exercising and getting out and doing stuff, bad stuff cannot stay in a healthy body. It gets out of you, comes through your pores, comes out of your breath, through your tear ducts. You know, it will leave your system, and you'll be like, man, I feel so much better. You know, once you do it, and then you're used to doing it, and then you try to put something bad in your body again, it just doesn't work like that. It's like, oh, I can't do this. Your stomach will be like, nope, we're not doing this, bro. It'll make you sick to eat stuff that's bad. Really. Like this younger generation pops pills and drinks, I don't know what the hell they drink, the whatever's in the red cup, and they're falling off like leaves off a tree. They're just dying, and they're promoting it. And I'm confused. Why is Lil Pump one of the hottest artists out there? Because he talks about drinking lean. Why is Lil Wayne so popular? Because he's drinking lean. And they told Lil Wayne, it's like, if you keep drinking this, you're going to die. He was drinking it every day. Stuff is terrible for you. Codeine mixed with whatever. And people talk, oh, I got whatever in my cup. Like, this makes you cool to just kill your body? That stuff kills you dead. That's how that one rapper died. Shoot, that's how DJ Screw died. Speaking of DJs, that's how DJ Screw died. He's drinking that lean. That's how Pimp C died. Yeah, he was found. I remember when Pimp C died. He was found in a hotel, dead. People was like, oh, something happened to him. No, he was drinking lean. Yeah, boy, I don't. And then they just put this terrible music out to just make everybody just be terrible, starting from your inside. Like, I can't do it, bro. You know what? I don't listen to the radio in my car, in my house. I don't even turn my car radio on, bro. You eat garlic every now and then. Garlic's good for you. The music is so terrible. Yeah. It's just so terrible, man. It's toxic as heck. It's like, bro, talk about those Canaanites and their culture, Egypt. They gave to the world. They are responsible for all European languages, Arabic, Sanskrit, and so-called Hebrew. Your views will increase. Okay. Well, that's something I'll study. I never studied Sanskrit, even though I've heard of it. A lot of what you're saying I've heard of. Some of what you're saying I never really got that deep into. But, well, some of that is because, you know, I'm just finishing up, you know, my studies. And that just, I'm old. So, you know, college takes a toll on me. Sometimes I'm just so sleepy. I don't want to look into anything else. And I'm thinking about getting a law degree. So a lot of stuff will really be on the back burner. But what I do, instead of getting into it, because I like to research things, I start watching videos on it. And then I go, okay, I don't believe this. I believe that. You know, and I kind of dig into it like that. So I learn better audibly anyway. So that I will start looking into some of those things. You know, I'm not opposed to none of that, especially if it gives me yeah, I'm 51. Music is controlled by the Jews. Yeah, music is controlled by the Jewish. You're not all, but college does. Yeah, college takes a toll on you. It does. Well, thanks. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm 51. And college takes a toll on you, man. Because it's directing your mind in like one, you know what I'm saying? You know, like the college degree that I actually wanted was art. But an art degree doesn't really add add up unless you already have somewhere that you're supposed to be, and they're just like, get an art degree, it will advance you. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a direct direction. You just can't be like, I have an art degree, give me a job. It just doesn't work like that. You know, you're just not going to be making a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So the military paid for my degree, and they were like, we're not going to pay for an art degree because I did research on it. And they were like, the job market for an artist is just, it's down low, real low. You know, and if the economy does another 2006, what happened to us then you're just going to be out of work for a long time, and that's not what we're gonna pay all these thousands of dollars for. And I was like, you know what, that's cool, because you know I'm an artsy dude, but I really feel you on that. If you guys are footing the bill, I should be able to find a job and keep a job at the end of this 4-year degree. So yeah, it was okay to be an artist then, but now it's really, really hard to be an artist and get money every day. It's just, with an art degree, that's just hard, man. Science man, watch that. Okay. So they were like, you got to get a job in something. Plus, my sister's an artist. She has a 2-year degree in art, and she works in the medical field. My brother, an artist, guess where he works at? Medical field. So I was like, I have to work in the medical field. I have to do something because it's just never going to go away. And, once you get your degree, it's like you're always going to be valuable. It doesn't matter. You're 80, 90 years old. People are still going to ask you for their advice on something you did in the medical field. It's just always valuable, So that's where I'm at. I have a 4-year degree. Yeah, accounting is good. People always, hey man, I took an accounting class and I was like, all of this goes into accounting? Balance sheet? Man, now I can't stop talking about the doggone balance sheet. I had to take accounting twice, man. I was like, okay, I gotta, I gotta debit, credit. All right, let's go. You know what I'm saying? I had to get into it, man. Yeah, because it's not for me, but I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I had to really get into it. Like, all right, boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? This is my second time taking statistics too, because them numbers, man. Like I said, you got to be laser beam focused when you're trying to, get certain degrees. And my degree is a business. Oh, math is your major? Well, you go. Well, my degree is healthcare management, and it's a business degree. So, so I was a manager, in the service, I was a cook. Before I went into the service, I was a cook. And when I got out of service, I was a cook, and then I stopped doing that. Then I started managing shoe stores. So I had a couple jobs managing shoe stores and so on and so forth. So that's where my management came into play. And so this kind of just fits, because I can either go ahead and become a freelance inspector, health inspector, and what's cool about that is the government is looking for people to help them to cut the cost on healthcare. Healthcare fraud. So I'm really into the healthcare fraud of it. Like, if people start asking me, what's, Medicare A and B, and I'm just like, I can give them a basic gist of it. But healthcare is so ubiquitous. There's so many subsections of a subsection that you just don't know it all. You're just not going to know it all. You know what I'm saying? You just don't. Iliotibial band is like, what? What's an iliotibial band? You know what I'm saying? So there's just so many compartments of the medical field that you're just not going to know everything. But when it comes to healthcare fraud, that seems to be where I'm going. And I got VA benefits. Yeah. That's who paid for my school. And I'll probably end up getting a law degree. That's where I'm leaning towards. And I would be in law school like next semester if I had the money to pay for it already. But I've been looking it up, and it's like $30,000 for law school. It's just like, you know. But that's probably where I'm probably gonna be a research lawyer. I don't really want to litigate. I don't really like to argue. I'd rather be proactive than reactive, which means if somebody's getting sued, then they call a lawyer. I don't want to be that type of guy. I want to be the type of guy that might look at a couple contracts and say, this should put you straight. You know what I'm saying? And or if somebody says, I have a situation with asbestos, I would be the lawyer you come to and look up the asbestos law. I would look up Stark laws. You know, I would be the guy that you come to and just look up those laws and, you know, pretty much spit the facts to you, and you would pay me on an hourly basis on that information. So I would be the lawyer that other lawyers come to who don't want to do research. And there's a lot of them. They just don't want to do it. Program Broma is taking over. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they got a robot now that can make shoot basketball swishes from the three line. Yeah. So that's where I would be. I would be the person that you come to figure out what one of these laws mean, why they're like that, and so on that line. If you're looking to catch bad guys, you would come to me. As far as who's ripping off Medicaid, Medicare, and what I would eventually do is, being that I worked in legislation before, I would either run for a position, a small city council or something like that, and or I would start petitioning Washington to change some things, which I really want to do. It depends on your personality, city, and age that determines your comfortability when making a career choice. Well, being that I don't want to be on a 9 to 5, I don't want nobody telling me when to go to lunch and when I can go on vacation. I'm not interested in that. I like working in the comfort of my own home. So, I mean, I could do that now. I could open up an LLC for healthcare counseling and just work right here and get paid by the contract, you know. I'm not really interested in working for somebody, although I could make a lot more probably working for them, but I just don't want people telling me what to do. I've done that for years and it didn't work for me, you know. Sally doesn't like my tie, so I'm fired. I'm not interested in what Sally's fat ass, you know, has to say. Yeah. Let me see. Jews run this government, and Masons are the employed middlemen. If you ain't one of them, you ain't the. You know what? I know a few people who are. I know one person. She's a GS-13. I don't know where she falls at in that category, but I know she is wealthy. She's very wealthy. You know what I'm saying? I know a couple of GS level people who they're doing all right. You know what I'm saying? They're doing all right. So it all depends on what your level of success is. So, you know, but yeah, so I eventually want to start writing laws. I might not exactly want to be a lawmaker as in a senator or anything like that, but that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? That'd be pretty cool to be a senator. But I've been around senators and House representatives because I used to work for them. I don't think Nancy was. I don't think she was. She's just a regular person. She graduated from an all-black college. And she worked in private sector. And then she's like, I'm going to go ahead and work for the government because I'm single. she adopted a little boy and she traveled the world. And she's still doing it. So, I mean, I don't know. She might be. I don't know. Very cool person. Her sister works for private sector. But now my sister, on my dad's side, she's ex-military, just like my brother and I. Her son is in the military right now. What my sister does is pretty cool because she contracts through the government and goes right back over there across the water. And they pay her so much just to sit there and do nothing. She'll be in Kuwait in a heartbeat. It's like, I'm like, word. She's like, yeah, I'll just be over there. So once I get it up and going, I might be interested in doing something like that. You know, going to a foreign land for the government for a couple months. I might study abroad. I might study a couple abroad. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I might study abroad. So the reason why I'm looking at studying abroad because we don't have universal health care here. And I'm very interested in the effects of universal health care, especially on like third, fourth world countries. We are a first world countries. There are 5 categories of world countries. So yeah, it is very interesting. And so we are a first world country, but there are a lot of countries that have universal health care. And of course, their taxes are higher. Service connected, 100%. I have universal. Okay, America doesn't. S1. I don't know what that means. Okay, America doesn't have universal health care. You have health care through the VA. This is what you have. Now, if you make a certain amount of money, the VA will stop covering certain services they give to you through healthcare. So you need to check that out. They'll stop because they'll ask you how much do you make. You know, you have to do that like every year or so. And if you say, well, I make, you know, 70,000 a year, they'll be like, okay, well, this is what we cannot do for you anymore. So there's that. 40,000. Yeah. You might want to check into that because some things they'll cover, some things they won't according to how much you make. Security, the first world public enemy members. Okay. Well, we are a first world country, and there are, you can actually look up a whole list of who has universal health care and then find out how that healthcare system works. I want to go to some of these countries and study up under some of these, you know, lawyers and some of these doctors. You know, most lawyers will go and do an intern, you know, and just get up under somebody, and, you know, get their lunch. And I'm not really that type of guy. You know, I don't necessarily want to study up under you. I want to study beside you. You know, I want to learn while you're learning. You know what I'm saying? You may have that piece of paper already, but I'm not your toady or your lackey, and I'm not buying your lunch. You can forget that. You know what I'm saying? But I will do some of your research because that's what I'll be doing. That I don't mind doing. But hey, here's a stack of books. Go at it. I'll be like, fine, because it's a good chance that most of these books is on Audible somewhere. Now, I learn very well audibly. You know, I read too, but you know, so I'll just click, listen, boom, and read, and just get it all down. Like, okay, boom, this is what this says. You know, and start, you know, reciting, you know, star clause and things along that point. Ain't nothing for free, bro. Healthcare is by way of communist. Okay, you would have to explain that to me, but you mean communist countries? But nonetheless, so I am looking to travel one of these days, and probably be about a year and a half from now, and just learn. And Yeah. I mean, it's you know, I'll make memoirs of it. I'll definitely be making videos of it and stuff like that. It's just gonna be like a personal thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna be. Uh, yeah. That's what I was saying about universal healthcare. Please don't curse on my channel. Yeah, I've traveled before. You know, I like to travel. What do you do, Born Savior? What do you do? You're a guy, right? I think you're a guy. What do you do? What you got going on? Lonely Truth is some type of scholar. He's probably a professor out of HBCU somewhere. If he isn't, he should be. With his motivation, you would do good there. You do real good. All that energy and all that knowledge, you do real good to be a professor, you know. An LLC owner of what? What exactly? You own your own practice of. Oh, okay. I ain't mad. Truckers make some good guap. I ain't mad at all. Truckers make that guap out. I wanted to be a truck driver. My uncle was a truck driver. God rest his soul. Yeah, he was a truck driver. Yeah, they make that guapo, man. My sister was going to be a truck driver. She's good now. She can't do it now, though. She was looking at it, though. I was just like, oh. Because I was going to do it, too. We was both going to get on the road. Hairstyles, barber, and part-time math tutor for a few elementary schools. Get busy. You, Born Savior, you're a woman? Hairstylist and bar. I guess it doesn't matter. You're a man. Okay. All right. There's money in hair. That's always going to be there. That's for sure. Well, you want to address people like, you know what I'm saying? You want to address people the right way. But in the Bronx, the boogie down, South Bronx, South Bronx. I'll be trying to make them Bronx beats, man. I love that old boogie down Bronx with the how do I feel about weave? You from the Bronx? That's why you like my music. Shoot, hip hop ain't dead to us. Hip hop is a culture. It'll never die. Hip hop never die to me, man. That's why you like my music, Happy, because it sounds like that old style. Boom, bap, boom, bap. Yeah. No, I feel you. I love that stuff, man. That's why I keep gravitating towards it. Like this new music got me like shook. Like I'm like, some of it I can't even feel. You know, some of it I can feel. You know, but some of it I'm like, I can't feel that. I can't feel the love into that. I'm gonna tell you who I did feel, and God rest his soul. I did feel XXXTentacion. I felt the last song he had out called Sad. I really did like that song. It had a hip hop feel to me. Ooh, I really wanna let go. Suicide, even if you're so sad to know you, so sad to know you. It had a Slick Rick storyteller like vibe to it. Because remember when Slick Rick, in his heyday, he had a song called I Shouldn't Have Done That. I'm feeling sad and lonely. So sad and lonely. I shouldn't have done that. It was a song about a woman who killed herself over him. Most people don't even know that. I like, do you know what you're listening to? This is a song about suicide. And Slick Rick was singing it. Rick the Ruler. The girl who was dancing in the red dress in the video, it was a song about how she killed herself over him. and that's why he was saying he shouldn't have done that, because he was involved with her, but he couldn't get too involved with her, and she fell for him, and he was like, I can't be with you. And she offed herself. I was like, dang, Rick was writing back then. That's what I like, man. Them boys, that's why I was feeling that last song, Sad by Tentacion. I was like, I felt him on that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Slick Rick, man. You know what I'm saying? That MC Light as a rock, light as a rock. Yeah, I was feeling those songs. I met MC Light. Yeah. Steady B. Dun, 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 dun. The bridge, the bridge. It made me want to live in New York, man. I was loving that. Big L. Big L's dead, man. Didn't he die? How did he die, man? Soulja Boy is the go. Soulja Boy, come on, man. Well, NWA, you listen to the story about them, they were pushed to do that. You know, the Jewish got a hold of them because the guy actually is Jewish. He was like, I didn't want that music. He's like, all that hip hop stuff that was out, he was like, that's dead. I wanted to push this. And that's what he did. He pushed all that murder music. Yeah, he got shot. Dang. Yeah, they started that bad music. Like, I will never be like an NWA fan. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. I was never a fan of all that cursing and, you know, killing and all that anyway. Dang, man. I'm going to hide that, but I feel you. That's crazy. Kool G Rap started the drug crime element. I remember Kool G Rap. DJ Polo, yep. I like some of Ice-T because Ice-T was talking about what really happens in the street, and he wasn't always cursing. Ice-T was a smart dude, though, because he was doing it like a business. He was a businessman from the start. Him and Coco, he was like, yeah, okay, I see you. He was business, and that's why he's still relevant today. Not in the rap world, but, you know, he's still on. It didn't matter. He was a businessman. It didn't matter. There's a lot of people who can't. Rob, you mean to tell me Rob Bass can rap? It takes two to make things go right. That dude can't rap. That dude can't rap. But why is he still doing concerts today, 30 years later? I want to rock right now. Why? Because he was nasty on it. He had a nasty hook. He got sued for the music he used by Frankie Beverly. But nonetheless, he was older for that time. Rob Bass, man, I want to rock right now. I'm Rob Bass and I came to get down. He was almost gimmicky. I don't know, because it takes two. He was the gimmicky dude. He was the dance dude. It takes two to make joy. Here we go. And pain. He was the gimmick dude. He had a good gimmick. Sunshine. And got sued. Give it to me, Rob Bass. 88 NYC was the joke, was it? Yeah. He was the gimmicky dude, man. DMX had a great run. DMX didn't have a good run. He had a great run. He had a longer history than most. And he's still rapping if he can get off them drugs. Yeah. And Rob Bass, he was just like, I'm going to get in right where I feel like he could never be a battle MC. He was never going to be a Rakim. That was never going to happen. Check out my melody. Check. But how many people know Rakim and how many people know Rob Bass? Rob Bass has a wider fan base than Rakim does. And that's just the truth. More white people and Asian people know that song, those two songs by Rob Base, than they know about anything from Rakim. Because it was a gimmick. Oh, BDK, man, that dude is still the joint. Yeah, because Rob Base was gimmicky. He was just like, I got a gimmick. I'm going to go with that. He'll never be a battle MC. He's not going to be like Tariq from the Roots. Tariq from the Roots will eat you up and spit you back out. Easily. But how many people know the Roots? How many people know those two songs by Rob Base? Rob Base just has a huge fan base. But the Roots, man, they've been around and they've been doing a lot, so they got a huge fan base too. KRS-One. Yeah, I saw him live. Yeah, I saw KRS-One live. Little Kim had a good run. A lot of them did, but they don't know when. See, the thing about Little Kim, man, if Little Kim changed herself. When she changed herself, yeah, D Nice. My name is D Nice. Taking out you suckers, though you don't know how I did it. Eric being around Kim to go all day. Little Kim changed her look. Yeah, she changed her look. And when she changed her look, it just kind of, the people who knew her from back in the day was just kind of looking like why'd you, like, you were so pretty. Like, what you were like Lauryn Hill pretty. Like, could you imagine if Lauryn Hill started doing stuff to her face? Like, we would be like, running my pain. Like, what are you doing? One time. Like, come on. That's what I thought about Little Kim. I was just like, you know, I don't know what you're going through. You know what I'm saying? You're in the music business. I'm not. But, you know, you changed. Yeah, she just changed. A teenage love. Was she? Lil' Kim was, man, she was hot. She was hot. She's hot. I come from Brooklyn. Dun, 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 dun. Funeral service. Nobody seen it. Nobody heard it. Just another funeral. Man. Put your lighters up. Keep putting your lighters. That was my favorite jam by her. I don't want to live no more. And then I was like, ba-da, keep putting your lighters up. I was like, yeah, Little Kim. I was like, yeah. And of course, her on The Quiet Storm, she just do. Man, listen, I don't care what she looks like. You will always want to hear Little Kim spit them bars on The Quiet Storm. That's just that. That song is just a classic. I don't care what nobody say. That song will live forever. It will live forever. It's just it. You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. to P. But that's just it, man. When she got on that, 1, 2, 3, and we D-double-E-P. Oh, light as a rock. I don't agree with that. They were better entertainers. Salt with the Deadly Pepper, because they were dancers. Yeah, Kim was talking about where she's from. I mean, she was hanging out with one of the biggest names ever in the game. She lived a stressful life. Big was ideal, man. I loved Biggie. I loved that dude, man. I was listening to Biggie every day. You know what I'm saying? Who is this? He's in the 546 in the and I can't stand murder rap and all that killing, but Big, it was just something about him. Crack of dawn and like the tears from your eyes. This and why it's my nigga Pop from the barbershop. Understand what the intricate plot. They just want you like fly paper, baby. Slow down, love, please chill, drop the caper. Remember back when you was still Big just hyped you up. He just gave you that energy, man. I was bumping that bump back. Bing bong pink. Biggie Smalls is the had to have it, man. Get it, Biggie. No, after doing rap, keep it. He was just that. You know how the weed go is unbelievable. It's like, man, come on, man. I'm going. Look, man, I knew Biggie's life was coming to an end. All that ruckus that was going on between them two, I was like, they're gonna get him. I know they are. And when I heard Tupac got it, I even said it out loud, they're gonna kill Biggie. Please don't curse on my channel. Yeah, Biggie was. But I feel what you're saying, but please don't curse on my channel. Yeah, because sometimes we get little youngins on here, man. But yeah, Biggie was that deal, man. Biggie was boom, 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 boom. Biggie, can't you see? I remember Tim Dog. I don't remember none of his songs, but I remember the artist Tim Dog. I was a hip hop head, man. I was a dancing hip hop, you know. I was a hip hop, like, yeah, if you name a song by Tim Dog, eventually I'll be able to figure out what it was. But you got to understand, I was listening to them and the Eurythmics. I was listening to country music. I was listening to Quiet Riot, Bang Your Head. I was listening to Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Stop the Reaper, whatever that song is. I was listening to the freaking Beatles. I was into everything. I was just listening to music. You know, I stopped at Molly Hatchet, though. I was like, I can't do Molly Hatchet. That's just too much for me, but I love their album covers. I was listening to Kiss. I was listening to all that, man. All that music, man. I was absorbing all that. You know, I write songs now. I got my little guitar back there. It's broken. I got stuff around. Yeah, I write songs now, man. I was listening to all that. Kiss was one of my favorite groups. And a little brother put me on them. Little dude named Timmy, little black boy. He was like, you should listen to Kiss. He's like, that's my favorite. I'm just like, Kiss a white group. He's like, listen to him. Raising Hell. Man, I was addicted to that album. I was like 11 years old, man. Beth, I hear you calling, but I can't come home right now. 'Cause me and the boys are playing. Woo! Just a few more hours, and I'll be right home to you. Beth, I hear you calling, but what can I do? That song was written by the drummer. I was like, I love it. Man, I was listening to all that craziness, man. Your 90s, baby? I was listening to all that, yeah. Can we talk about rappers later on? I can't relate. Because we're into old heads on here now. I'm about to make some music anyway. You can't dictate the whole conversation, babe. What you want to talk about? But I feel you. If you can't relate, you want to get in where you fit in. I feel you, though. What about Kendrick Lamar? Well, see, Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, they are the masters of the universe now. They are hip-hop now. Kendrick Lamar is probably at the height of his career. And he's been getting awards that no other rapper's been getting. Like Kendrick Lamar is like the politician of rap to me. He's serious. Point blank. Like, you don't step to Kendrick. You don't step to Kendrick Lamar unless you're serious. Like, he had to have done you some disservice for you to come at him, because he's so serious. And the thing about him that's so beautiful is the white people don't just party to him. They listen to him. He's like an ambassador. He really, really is. That's why I like Kendrick Lamar, because he took the culture and he's putting it in people's face and he's using the message the right way. You know, because the police brutality and the murders and all this stuff, he's putting it right in their face, like, we know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's right there with it. So dude could run for a hip hop office, man. It's just, this is what it is. Yeah, he's the Chuck D. That's exactly who he is. Fight the power that be. I mean, here you say, those people are still speaking out too, man. That's when Chuck D went irrelevant. When Chuck D went irrelevant is when NWA came out. White, Chuck D, Flavor Flav, all of them out. Nobody wanted to be conscious. Everybody wanted to kill everyone. That was it. It was over. NWA came out. It just killed everyone's spirit. It was over. All that self-destruction. You're headed for nobody cared. It was like, yeah, we know. We're just going to keep rolling. Exclaim, yeah. Grand verbalizer, what time is it? African. Very African. I like me some J. Cole. I don't know too many other songs, but I like J. Cole. Yeah. Flavor Flav, man. Flavor Flav back in the day he is an icon. Flavor Flav is an icon. And the reason why Flavor is an icon, simply because he came out and he came out with Chuck D, and they were serious about telling people who they are, telling black people who they are. And he was the gimmicky dude. He wasn't a sideshow. He was a main attraction to get the gimmicky people to watch and see how serious this is. Because they was marching like, but you know, they was in your face with it, and that's all they talked about was conscious music. Running for your life, yikes. Running for your wife, yikes. You know what I'm saying? And Flavor came out, he dropped his own album, people listened to it. And it was crazy. Lamping, I'm lamping, cold and cold lamping. Like, everybody was walking around saying what Flav was saying. But nobody looked at Flavor Flav as a joke. No one. I tell you who they looked at as a joke. Kwame with the polka dots. He was a gimmicky dancing dude. Nobody took Kwame serious. As a matter of fact, Notorious B.I.G. said something to Kwame. He said something about Kwame. Like Kwame with them freaking polka dots. Kwame. And Kwame came out of nowhere and had something to say. It's like, you better sit down. Because everybody knew you was a gimmicky joke. You and whoever was dancing with you in your polka dot. You what? Nobody took you seriously. You were a gimmick. You came out, you left. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You and the polka dots, man. That was it. That was his thing. You know, he was faddish. He played himself by being faddish and not having one serious song out there. He didn't have nothing worth listening to other than dancing. I can't tell you one of his songs. Not one. Because he was just a gimmick. Yeah, he was just a gimmick. Kwame was never worth listening to unless you wanted to dance. Unless you was out to, you know, go get some girls and, you know, shake it up with the chicks, then you listen to Kwame. And you listen to, you listen to Kwame, then you might listen to a couple of them other cats who was out there just dancing. But when you were serious, you know what I'm saying? I tell you what, even Heavy D was serious. When he talked about Trouble T. Roy and how he fell and killed himself, he made that song Peaceful Journey. And I wish you a peaceful journey. Oh, man. Yeah, Chubb Rock was serious. He has a master's degree. You know, boom, 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 boom. You know, in 1990, Chubb Rock shows up on the scene with a lean and a hardcore dream. Treat me right. Boom, 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 boom. Leave the guns and have fun. He was talking about leave the guns. He was like, leave the guns and have fun. He was like, just go to the club and have fun. Leave the guns alone. Leave the guns in the, I mean, that's what he was doing. And oh yeah, swing it. Treat me right. So, you know, you got your rappers today who are conscious rappers and who are, you know, talking about the way life is today. And a lot of them, like, who's that? Young boy, young NBA boy, or whatever the heck his name is. I listened to one of his tracks and I was just like, okay. I'll tell you one of, who's that dude out of Florida? He in jail now. He had that song Skirt Skirt I liked. Little dude from the island. I forgot what his name is. But a lot of these young rappers are talking about what's happening to them today, but they're not doing it in an uplifting way. They're just saying this is what's going on. You know, I'm poor. It's the same thing. I'm poor. I only have one pair of shoes. This, that, and it's the same stories. And the reason why people are listening to it, because it's the same story. Because they can identify with it. You gotta understand, there's a lot of rappers out underground. And I suggest people to go underground. Go underground, sell your stuff underground. There's nothing wrong with it. It's one narrative. It's one movement. And if you fit in that movement, see, people try too hard to individualize themselves. You know what I mean? Oh, I would never do that like that because I'm me and I'm special. No, you just like the rest of us. You in the same boat. You know, you being pimped out just like the rest of us. Like, no. So you might as well wake up and get with it and get this money. Because you trying to sit way out here in Kwame Lane, you're going to be hot and then you're not. You're going to be hot for a few seconds and then you're going to burn out. Instead of being somebody who we remember who was in it with the rest of us. I remember so-and-so, they was in it. See, we can remember, I can remember a lot of these old rappers and a lot of their music because we was all in it. That's how I know all these songs. I mean, I can tell you songs by people who you just wouldn't believe that I know. You would be like, how do you know that? Because I was listening. I was listening to them. Yeah, I wasn't just bobbing my head to them. I was listening to everything that they said. I was crying. I was laughing with them. I was cheering for them. Oh, man, I was there. You know what I'm saying? Brenda's Had a Baby. I can't tell you how many times I listened to that song. And I listened to every word of it. Brenda's had a baby, but Brenda barely knows her name. I mean, Brenda's, you know what I'm saying? That song meant a whole lot because teenage pregnancy is a normal thing. It's a normal thing. You know what I'm saying? Little girls run around with, pregnant and no father to be found. That is a normal thing. He was in it. He was saying what we already knew. He just made music about it. So we was just like, yeah, it's happening on our block too. People getting thrown out of their places in the middle of the cold, that's happening on our block. People getting shot and killed, people getting dope fiends up, happening on our block. You know what I'm saying? And that song was done without no cursing. So it was digestible for everybody. Your little sister could listen to that like, yeah, because it's happening everywhere. Moms could listen to it because it wasn't no cursing in it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of music now is every other word is MFer. It's the reason why I don't want to listen to it. Kodak Black is who I was thinking about. I like some of Kodak Black stuff. We don't really want to win in. They don't really want us winning. Something like that. I like Kodak Black. That little skirt. That was a cool little jam he had. But I like some of what he was saying. You know what I'm saying? You got some boys that came out after him now. All they doing is talking about shooting people, huh? I don't identify with that. I can't do it. Y'all wanna make a beat real quick? Y'all wanna make some music? Or y'all just wanna listen to one of my old beats? You wanna listen to some old beats, or you wanna make a new beat? No, nothing? No replies? No reply at all. No reply. Bet y'all don't know who sang that. Look at me. You never look at me. Boom, boom, dum, 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 boom, dum, dum, dum. No, y'all don't know that song. No, y'all don't know nothing about that. No reply at all. Y'all probably know some of the songs better, as in Land of Confusion. Dude, old school for real. I told you I'm 50 years old. Still, y'all don't know who sang that song. I like making old beats with, let me turn this off. I like making old beats, and I make some new ones too. Yeah, man, I'm an old head, man. That's a newer type. I'll make an old beat. I got some killer old beats, man. I got some killer joints, man. Your body will tell you. You never heard some of my beats, man. I got some that suck, and I got some that is good, you know? What's the old, because new? What was up? This is true. This is true. But, you know, a lot of those beats came from, you know, African Bambaataa bringing those beats over. And a lot of other ones came out of jazz. So, you know, we was heavy and still are heavy in the jazz. So you'll hear a lot of, just lovely jazz licks. Finding some nice keys on some jazz and just getting it. Try to be able to reply to you guys. Yeah, I'm old school, man. You never look at me. Anyway, the artist was Phil Collins. I can feel it. New Jack Swing. Yeah. New Jack Swing. Yeah. Planet Rock, the song. Yo, in the place where the nights are hot. It's and that it DJ plays our favorite blast, brings us back to the past. Music's magic, poof for the front. I loved it, man. Twist and turn, you make your body into your body, so whip it, yeah. Tip the phone, now whip it. Whoo, some of that E minor 7. Someone Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. See if it's going to actually do what I wanted to do. How you just gonna give me one? Why are you just giving me one? You suck, man. Let me try to fix this one. I wanted it to come in just like that too. I'll take that though, because it's at 16. Put some strings on it. I'll go right to the beat for y'all. Find something hard. Can we get down with this? We'll start with some more jazz stuff. I mean, what's strange? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Gotta clean it up though. All right, so that's what I'm going with. Let's see what it sounds like. All right, yeah. So I like it. I'm gonna fix. All right. Switch hands. The last part, do do do. There it is. Okay. Try it. Later. Oh, I know what's wrong. Thanks. I'm trying to do that all on this. My fingers are like. This piano can take over the whole thing, but I'm gonna bring the piano down and then I'm gonna. Sitting by the sea on the call, baby. Yeah, don't bring the piano in like that. There it is. That's the second. That's a second chord. The first chord. First chord. Get the piano in nice and slow. I'm gonna catch it on the way down. Back down to that note. Yeah, I want to catch it coming back down, but the way this is going to do is it's going to even out at 16. Unless I put it at 32, and then it's going to be really sketchy. Still got to quantize it, so I'll put it at 32. Okay, so I'm missing my last part, so I gotta. I'm missing that part. Boom, boom. I could add some guitar in here, but the guitar on here is so. Just let you guys listen to it. I'd rather be playing. Classic. Sounds good? Okay, thank you, man. I'm gonna try to get a little pluck in there. I'll put the hard rock guitar in it. That's what I really want to do. That's what I really want. I'm gonna mess with the drum beat a little bit more too. Yeah. See what? But I'm gonna put it in there under. It's gonna be like real under. Something like that. It's gonna be like a lick. And then I'll bring the other guitar and play it. So let me get this to. Quiet it down, get the reverb on it. I want that to be more, I want it to be really reverbed out though. I want you to just be like, I'm gonna take the gain and the tone down. Alright, so I'm gonna take the roots guitar. I'm gonna take this and try to. This is the beginning of. But the other notes are lower. Bum, bum, bum. So. But it's still not going to sound like. Because it's not going to have that plucking sound. It's not going to have that. It's not going to have it. Anyway. That sucks. That sucks. Okay. I can't take it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's like kissing a girl you know you don't like. You just can't do it. Like you want to, but you just can't. Like, ah, 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 like, ah. Hey, what's going on? How you doing today? Not really. What's up, Taylor? Are you blessed? All right. It's good, man. You blessed? We just over here jamming for a minute. Just making some old head music, man. I'm sorry. We old heads, man. We old heads, man. We old heads. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. We making old head music, man. I try to make that new music, but it's hard, man. That music, man. I'm making that new music, man. I'll be trying to make young music, but it'd be falling apart because I'm not young. You know what I'm saying? I'll be failing, man. Youngins be getting mad. You suck! You suck! I'll be like, yo, I'm old enough to be a grandfather. Hey, Tom. Hey, you know that at 21 Savage, yeah, 21. That was freestyling. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was freestyling on my channel. Yeah, I think he was freestyling over one of the New York beats I made. Yeah, the one where I was, you better write this down. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was jamming on one of the hip hop beats I made. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Born Savior, are you a sub? Are you new to my channel? That's your cousin? Okay. Oh, okay. Tell him I said what's up. Yeah, because I was telling him don't curse. He did a good job. Yeah, I was telling him don't curse, and he was like, all right, because I don't like cursing on my channel. Plus, you guys are real young, so I like for you guys to have a vocabulary. We had rappers back in our days who had vocabularies. Matter of fact, one of them was touted as a good rapper because he had a large vocabulary. There's a couple of them. One of them was Keith Murray. He was using all kinds of words. Yeah. Yeah, what up, bro? And why do you have 21's name, man? I don't understand that. 21. You know what I'm saying? another dude came out of UTFO who had a hit song about a true story about a girl named Roxanne. And that song went, in your day, it would be viral, but in our day, it just was a hit because it had Roxanne's grandmother, Roxanne's brother, Roxanne's dad, and then the real Roxanne, who was a real light-skinned woman, and then Roxanne Shante, who piggybacked off of the success of Roxanne, and she's still doing stuff today. We don't know where then the real Roxanne came out, and she was like, I'm the real Roxanne. Like, it was my story. It wasn't a story that happened to this other girl who was, you know, not as attractive as I am. Cousin is, join is that cool. Oh, I don't care. As long as you guys obey the rules. As long as you guys obey the rules, man, I don't mind you guys come on and listen and all that other good stuff. Just no cursing on my channel, and don't go at anybody on my channel. Other than that, yeah, you guys are free to listen. Since you guys are here, I guess well, you guys like old school too. I don't know. See if I can. Some of your new stuff is just so hard. But I noticed most of it is pad and an 808. I noticed that. Most of it is just some kind of pad, some kind of, and then an 808. Something like that. Let's see who's still here. Is Born Savior still here? Okay, everybody's gone. All right, everybody bounced. wave again. Where'd that pad go? Is that pad? Okay. Delay is too much. Get the bass out. Like that. Keep up, bro. You gotta it's not keeping up. So you go, man. You about to start rapping. I like the first note. Trying to read what you're saying and do my thing. They tell me, can you make? What do you mean a little bit more? A little bit more fire? Sure. I wasn't done with that, but can I make something a little bit more fire? Okay. Like I said, your music is harder for me, so I'll make something with a little bit more drop in it. A little bit more upbeat. All right. A little faster. All right, let's try this. Let's try some of the. It's gonna be that type of album. Let's try this out for a second. Sorry, something, huh? Yep. Try to read a little bit more upbeat, you know what I'm saying? Emotional. You want something more emotional? You want something more emotional? You asking me to mess with the minor keys. Oh, okay. Oh, I see what type of rapper you are. All right, hold on a second. But you want it still to be old style? Or you want it to be, that's newer style? You want it like with the 808 newer style? Or you want it to be like old style? Because the one that you heard before, where I was talking on it, you better write this down. That was old style. This is a new 80 with the 808s in it, in a trap style. So you don't want the trap style? Because something more emotional, I mean, I can bring out some emotion with just some. I'm looking for the right beat for my song. Oh, man. I don't know if I'll ever have the right beat for you. Something else more emotional is going to be in a minor key. Go ahead. I'll probably be failing all day with that, bro, because I would have to hear it. Yeah. You know. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to match what you want without listening to you. You know what I'm saying? I would have to listen to you. would have to listen to what you're saying. Like I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be the right beat for you. Because I don't... Yeah, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, bro, I don't know how to... You asking me to do producer work, it's just different, man. Not that. Yeah, bro. So I'm gonna just make whatever. Emotion. Told you those minor keys. I'm getting ready to change this. I'm getting ready to change this. Watch. This is going to have to change up. And you're ready to change up for you 5. You with me 5? Get ready to hit us 5. gotta listen to it, man. That's the, but I want it to be funkier than it. Oh man, I like that. I like that. Bring the crash on it. Rock with that. Trying something new. Let's see if I can get these. he was almost hot, wasn't it? Then I just gotta put some regular strings on. Woo. fire track, ain't it? You can't tell me that ain't fire, bro. That is hip hop for real. Like it's mad fire. That's what I do when I zone out and I'm all studied out. I'm like, I don't feel like studying another thing. I got the biggest test of my life tomorrow. I do not feel like studying for it. So I zone out. You know, I do this. I share it. Because that's only part of what the song actually is. That's just 4 bars. All that was just 4 bars. You could stretch that out and make that a whole symphony. And get the right person on it, like Styles P or somebody, and just, you know, go crazy on it. Or Jadakiss. It's lights out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who's here. I call you 5, but your name is Born Savior. Are you still here? I don't know. I don't know who's still here. What y'all want to listen to? Or if you guys are done, you want to be done. Well, if you want to be done, you wouldn't be here. But there's only one person here. Yeah. Take it on your boy Tone. Take it on your boy Tone. I'm selling this thing tomorrow. I'm selling you tomorrow. Soon my test is over. I can't sell it till Tuesday. I can't sell it until I see what my grades are. Hopefully I don't fail. I'm trying to come out of there with that C. You know what I'm saying? Even though that D is okay, but the C is what I want. Y'all want to make another beat? No? Y'all want to make another beat? What y'all want to do? You're just going to do it like this? Wish I could stare back at the people who staring at me. Hey, what are you looking at? Oh, that beat was fire. It got me hyped. Boop, 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 boop. I wanted to do some other stuff to it, but I don't fully produce all these tracks on here because people just snipe it. And then once I hear it, I got to remind them that there is a such thing as called as digital copyrights. As soon as I hear it, I'll be like, this song was made on this day. You owe me some money. I will sue them. Well, since you asked so nicely, I'll make another beat. Might be trashed. I think I'm hungry. When I get hungry, I can't make beats. I'm hungry. I feel like studying. That's a swing beat. That's a swing beat. You hear what that sounds like? Watch this. Hold on. I gotta switch hands, that's why. it's a swing beat. I'm sorry. Sorry, my bad. It's a swing E. There it is. Don't do me like that. Do me like that. It's like that. It's like that. Okay. I see what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do. Okay, I see you trying to. Are you going to do like that? That's how you're going to do me? Okay. It's like. Baseline sound. Hey! All right, let me do like this. Yeah, my face. My mama told my grandmother to my grand. Strange sounds in there. My ass up. My ass. I had something strange in there. Some tonality. I'm gonna give it some motion. to be light skinned. Because they're brainwashed. Doesn't make you better. Yeah, man, they just want to, they're just brainwashed. This is weird to me. It's weird to me because it actually comes in at the end. Yeah, they brainwash, man. I used to be brainwashed when I was a kid. They call you enough names, you'll be brainwashed. Got something every day, you know I'm pimping. I used to be there simping every day, you know I'm pimping. And now I'm just balling like I'm old Sean Kempton. Be on the block leaning with my fly shoes limping. Shoot, bro. That's what they do, man. Oh, man, you got to tell them to cut that out. Yeah, they doing that over there in Jamaica because the white people and the black people want a lighter. They don't like their skin. It's not a strange addiction. They don't like their skin. They don't love themselves. You got to love yourself, man. I used to be like that because people kept calling me blackie, ugly, and all these other words. And then finally, I was like, you know, man, I'm all right. I noticed all those light-skinned people was getting sunburned and I wasn't. You know, people have been hating on me because of my color all my life. And you know what? They're going to keep hating on my color for the rest of my life. But I am not going to change the way I look. I'm just not. I just am not going to do it. You guys have a good evening.